Hey everyone, I'm Ross. Just been trying out a lot of comics recently and don't have a lot of stuff to do, so I thought I'd just record my thoughts and put them out there. Historically, I've mostly been as you can kind of see in the back, mostly been a trades and like deluxe edition, like omnibus kind of collector. But I've recently gotten into single issues for the first time, and it's kind of addicting, and it's a lot of fun. So I just thought I would go over the books I got on New Comic Book Day this week, and then kind of go over what my pulls for next week will be, and go from there. So I have 3 pulls this week. They were all DC. I'm traditionally lean more DC, but I have picked up some Marvel books for you Marvel fans out there. But for this week, it is 3 DC pulls. The first one I'll talk about is Justice League Red #1. So the whole conceit behind this, if you're not aware, is that Red Tornado is basically running Black Ops Justice League missions that kind of the core Justice League doesn't know about. This first issue introduced Green Lantern and Power Girl as the 2 kind of active participants of the first issue. And the issue, it was totally fine. Nothing wowed me too much. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes, but I like Simon Baz as a character from previous runs, and I haven't read much Power Girl, but it looks like just from the cover, I'm not sure who this character is. To be perfectly honest, please let me know. But I'm excited to see Cyborg and Deadman. I like both those characters quite a bit. So, scale of 1 to 5, I'd give this like a 3, 3.5. I want to pull the next issue to see kind of what happens. So it's a 6-issue miniseries, I believe. So be short either way. Next book up is Absolute Flash #6. Absolute Flash, out of all the Absolute titles, has probably been my least favorite so far. With that being said, I'm still enjoying it, but it's, ironically enough, it's just seemed to be moving really slowly in terms of story. And this issue doesn't necessarily help that all that much, as it kind of goes into the backstory of Flash's rogues in the Absolute universe. But funnily enough, I actually did enjoy this one more than the last couple of issues. I like the characterization they're all getting, including Captain Cold. But there was not much of Wally at all in this issue. I don't think there was Wally. Actually, there was no Wally. But it did leave on a bit of a cliffhanger, so dealing with Wally's dad. So we'll see how that goes. I'm pulling all the Absolute titles from DC. So I'll continue to pull this, hoping it improves. Right now, this issue specifically, I'd probably give like a 3.5, maybe. One of my favorite things from earlier issues is simply that Gorilla Grodd is just a little guy now, and he's great. For the last pull of this week, and my pick of the week, is Absolute Batman #11. So obviously, Scott Snyder Batman, this has been kind of the flagship title for the Absolute line. Kind of stepping back and thinking about it as I am caught up on all of the Absolute titles, I would say Batman is probably maybe my second favorite, behind Absolute Wonder Woman, I think. It's been really cool so far. There's been enough changes to where it definitely feels different, but there's a lot of similarities. This issue in particular is the backstory of Bane in the Absolute universe, and I'll tell you what, the first time I read through this, there's some stuff that happens, and I'm like, I don't think that that Bruce Wayne can carry on and actually continue to exist in this universe. And then I reread it and looked at some of the discourse online, and we have an unreliable narrator. So felt a little bit silly about that, but Bane in this feels the most menacing I've ever seen Bane before. This is probably my favorite panel this week, of Bane and Batman just going at it. And so, like I said, this is Scott Snyder, and this issue is illustrated by Clay Mann instead of Nick Dragotta. But yeah, this was a great issue. It didn't necessarily move the story forward. It just gave us kind of the backstory on Bane and kind of what to expect if kind of everything goes according to his plan. So, very enjoyable book. Probably give this like a 4 out of 5 this week, maybe like a 4.5. But that is it for my pulls this week. Like I said, I'm kind of easing into single issues. But for next week, I have 4 pulls. So I have Absolute Martian Manhunter number 6, which I'm very excited about. Originally, that was just supposed to be a 6-issue mini that they extended to a 12. So obviously, they were feeling it at DC. I'm also feeling it. It's a crazy series. And then Absolute Wonder Woman number 11, which I'm incredibly excited about. I know that Kelly Thompson won a couple of Eisners for that book, and I just think the book is, for me, pretty close to flawless in terms of art, in terms of the writing, in terms of the direction they took to differentiate Diana from the mainline universe. It's awesome. It's awesome. I have Mr. Terrific Year 1, number 4. So this one I'm catching up on right now. Obviously, Mr. Terrific had a great role in the Superman movie, James Gunn's Superman movie that came out this summer. So giving him a book made a lot of sense. So I have picked up the physical edition of issue number 1, but I have not read any of the first 3 issues. So I'm going to get caught up on those before, obviously, I pick up issue 4 next week. And this book is by Al Letson with interiors by Valentin Delandro. So just kind of skimming through to look at the art, I like it quite a bit. So I'm excited to dive into that. And then last but not least, for you Marvel folks, I am getting Ultimate Spider-Man number 20. So I'm excited about that. It took me a while to get into the kind of new Ultimate universe. I read Ultimate Invasion, and I was very underwhelmed by that. So I think part of me was like, if that's kind of the setup for this new universe, I don't know if I really feel it that much. But I eventually, on Marvel Unlimited, read the first kind of story arcs of Ultimate Spider-Man, of Ultimate X-Men, and Ultimate Black Panther, and the Ultimates. So Ultimate Spider-Man, I think it's relatable for a lot of people my age who are like in their mid-30s, not knowing what they want to do, and just kind of having Peter be a family man is pretty awesome and relatable. So I've really enjoyed catching up on that series and the changes that they've made in terms of like Harry Osborn and Gwen Stacy and a lot of like the Sinister Six. I like a lot of the changes there. The Ultimates has been pretty good so far. I like the conceit of Mr. Terrific as kind of the Ultimate Universe's Doom. I like, honestly, I'm having problems remembering it. It hasn't blown me away, but I love team-up books, so I'll obviously keep going for it. Ultimate X-Men is interesting, because the first time I read it, I think I was going into it looking for something that it wasn't. I was looking for kind of those familiar characters with different kind of twists and spins on them, where you don't get like the headline X-Men in that book. You get Armor, who I think was introduced by Joss Whedon in like 2007 in a comic, I think. You get Nico Minoru from The Runaways, which I actually do like quite a bit. And then you get several others, and it's more of like almost like a Persona high school, Japanese high school drama with kind of some supernatural stuff happening. So I read through the first story arc, was really underwhelmed. Then I went back and reread it a week or two later, and I fell in love with it. Obviously, I'm a big fan when it's a singular creative vision in terms of like Peach Momoko is the author and also is doing the interiors. So I like having that singular vision, and I like the manga art style. You can see slightly above my head my very small physical manga collection I'm building out. But it's also been fun to see, like in Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion number 3, seeing some of those Ultimate X-Men in kind of a more traditional art style. Whereas in Ultimate X-Men, a lot of the times they look like they're in like elementary school, like little kids. But they're like, I think they're supposed to be like late middle school, like freshman year of high school, something like that. So it's fun to see them in a more traditional sense, and see them cross over with the rest of the universe just a little bit. But I really like Ultimate X-Men. And then Ultimate Black Panther, I read the first arc, and I thought it was fine. I didn't fall in love with it. I really don't like the design choice that they made where his mask has the open mouth, where there's just a cutout and you see his mouth. It really bothers me for some reason, which is stupid, but I need to go back, dive in, and give that another chance. And then I haven't touched Ultimate Wolverine yet. That's on my list to kind of dive into. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this first video. Like I said, Absolute Batman number 11, my pull of the week. Next week I got Absolute Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman, Mr. Terrific Year 1, and Ultimate Spider-Man. So yeah, I'll be back next week to kind of talk about what I find there. And if anyone has any suggestions or wants to just talk about some of the issues in the comments, by all means, feel free. And yeah, I will talk to you all soon. Thanks. Bye.